Today's show is sponsored by the Electric Vehicle Association. Join up to support the electrification of transport and get the help you need to finance your own EV or clean energy future. And by EnergySage. Visit the link in the description to find local verified solar experts and community projects in your area. And if you're in the state of California, keep watching to find out how you'll want to get your solar project permits submitted to your utility before California switches to net metering 3.0. And by you. Support the show with a monthly donation through Patreon or a YouTube membership, or make one-time donations with Ko-fi, Bitcoin, or our swag store. Welcome back to TEN or Transport Evolved News. Thanks for joining me. We start today with a brief correction from last week's show that many of you wanted us to note concerning the former CEO of Toyota. We reported in last week's show that he was leaving the company, which was incorrect. While he is being replaced as CEO, he will continue to hold a far less powerful position as chair of the board at Toyota. We're sorry for the inaccurate reporting. In the last decade, there's been an incredible rise in the average range of new electric cars coming to market. At one point, ranges of 100 miles, 160 kilometres were considered the norm, but now we're seeing 2 to 3 times that offered by most companies, with luxury brands like Tesla and Lucid offering 4 times or more of that figure. This week, Hyundai's all-new IONIQ 6 SE rear-wheel drive leapfrogged into the lead for mid-priced vehicles with an EPA rating of 361 miles, 580 kilometres per charge of its 77.4 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That model, with 18-inch wheels, is the longest-legged IONIQ 6 by far, with other variants offering less range per charge. We had hoped to go to the launch event, but unfortunately all the spaces were nabbed before we had a chance to register. Following on from Tesla's quarterly and year-end earnings last week, Ford has just published its fourth quarter and year-end financials. While Ford had a bad year for ICE vehicles, it sold 61,575 EVs in 2022, split between 15,617 Ford F-150 Lightnings, 6,500 Ford E-Transits, and 39,458 Ford Mustang Mach Es. Ford closed the fourth quarter beating Wall Street revenue predictions at $41.8 billion, but was 9 cents per share short on earnings at 51 cents per share. Part of this, Ford admitted, was caused by, quote, execution issues, end quote, in its transition to EVs. Even though its fourth quarter turned a profit, its year-end financials saw it record a $2 billion net loss. Rivian has announced that it will be laying off 6% of its staff in an attempt to save money and restructure its operations ahead of what many are expecting to be a global recession. In an email to staff, company CEO RJ Scaringe said the company must focus on production ramp-up and profitability, apologising to those who were being laid off. Last year, Rivian missed its own production goals by a significant margin, and while vehicles are now being made at the highest rate in the company's history, it, like Tesla, Ford, and others, all of whom have already laid off staff, is struggling to balance increased supply chain prices while simultaneously not getting dragged into a recently started EV price war. The layoffs are not connected with its production facility, where a second shift will start soon. Aptera, who we've covered quite a bit in recent weeks, is still in the process of trying to raise its final $50 million needed to bring its solar electric three-wheeler to market. This week, it announced a new way it hopes to raise that capital by gamifying investment into the company. In a YouTube video and blog post released this week, Aptera co-founders Steve Fambro and Chris Anthony told fans that anyone who invests money will compete against other customers to have their vehicles made first. Essentially, giving wealthy investors a chance to leapfrog the queue, the company said the investor who puts the most money down can secure the first production Aptera off the line, with production slots behind them ranked according to how much money investors and customers have put down. It's not unusual for startups to do this. Tesla did something similar for its first cars, but frankly it stinks. General Motors has officially begun production of the Hummer SUV, the second Hummer-badged EV to roll off its production line at Factory Zero. The very first example of the production line has already been auctioned off for charity at Barrett-Jackson's auction house in Scottsdale, Arizona. The charity in question, Tread Lightly, is a US charity that, quote, promotes outdoor ethics and a sense of stewardship in nature, end quote. We're told by GM that the funds will go towards trail restoration projects and educational programs. But let's be honest, the irony is that the Hummer EV does not tread lightly anywhere. And while the Hummer EV is now in production, GM has admitted this week that its 212 kilowatt-hour battery packs are headaches to source cells for. Frankly, there's enough cells there for more than 3 Chevrolet Bolt EVs to be made for every Hummer SUV. As we reported on the show last month, Tesla has recently dropped the prices of its vehicles, resulting in a massive increase in demand for its cars around the world. At the time, many in the industry predicted this price cut would be followed by Tesla's rivals, and this week, Ford made that official, dropping pricing for the Ford Mustang Mach E in the US, while committing to a sizable increase in vehicle production volumes. While the entry-level Mustang Mach E Select rear-wheel drive only gets a $900 price cut, the Mustang Mach E GT Extended range gets a more impressive $5,900 price cut. Sadly, though, these price cuts, while now in effect in the US, won't be repeated in every other market, with Ford's European arm confirming that it won't drop Mustang Mach E prices yet. Given that parts shortages are easing, expect this price war to continue for some time. Ford may be going after Tesla with its own price cuts for the Mustang Mach E, but Volkswagen has committed this week to not do the same. Talking to German-language news outlets this week, Volkswagen's recently appointed CEO, Oliver Blume, has stated that Volkswagen Group has a, quote, clear pricing strategy, end quote, and trusts in, quote, the strength of our products and brands, end quote. Just like General Motors, which also said recently it would not be cutting the pricing of its vehicles anytime soon, Volkswagen says it wants to focus on profitability rather than price. While Volkswagen trails behind Ford in the EV sales chart in the US, it is far more dominant in Europe, with around 330,000 ID models delivered around the world last year. With more EV factories than Ford has, Volkswagen feels safe. It doesn't take a genius to know that most automakers have increased the range of their electric vehicles in the past decade by adding larger batteries to them. There are exceptions. Tesla has, for the most part, focused on efficiency and power electronics, and the Hyundai IONIQ 6, not to mention some of Mercedes-Benz vehicles, have such impressive ranges due to low coefficients of drag. But now a new study commissioned by the Climate and Community Project reinforces what I hope is blinking obvious. Building more, smaller, more efficient EVs with smaller and efficient drivetrains and battery packs could dramatically cut lithium demand in the US by as much as 42%. If society pushed for more public transit and reduced car ownership, that lithium demand could be lowered by as much as 66% compared to today, which would dramatically reduce the environmental impact of mining those raw materials. As more and more car companies switch their portfolios to include more electric vehicles, we're starting to see commitments made that will only see them edge towards EVs. This week, Volvo became the latest to tread along that path, with a news report that says the company is looking to turn all of its core models into EVs by 2026. According to Reuters, the next generation S60 and S90 sedans and the XC60 SUV will join the XC40 and XC90 in going all-electric. The difference, however, is that unlike the XC40, which is offered as an electric variant and an internal combustion engine variant, it's suggested that Volvo will build electric-only versions of these other models in a similar vein to the EX90 that just launched. Volvo had previously stated that it wants to be all-electric by 2030, so this news report isn't so far out of left field. It is, however, a good 4 years ahead of those previous plans. If you are a US taxpayer, you'll likely be aware that the federal government has been to and froing quite a bit lately on the new EV tax credits and who exactly can claim them. Signed into law by the US president as part of last year's Inflation Reduction Act, the new tax credits come with a long list of requirements concerning which EVs would be eligible for tax credits and which ones wouldn't. Those new regulations won't come into force until March, and in the interim, the US Treasury Department has made a list of vehicles that it says can, for now, get tax credits. But the list, originally published in January, made some errors, classifying certain Tesla Model Y and Ford Mustang Mach E models as cars rather than SUVs. Now both models have been reclassified, meaning they're eligible for the full interim tax credit, as long as they don't cost more than $80,000 US. This will, of course, all change next month. Short shorts are coming in a second, but first, a little word from one of today's video sponsors, EnergySage. EnergySage is an online service in the US that helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing photovoltaic solar panels on the roof of your home. And they can also help you join a community solar program. We used EnergySage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and our EnergySage verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with a truly amazing credit union to help us finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. And if you live in the state of California, now is the time to go solar to maximize those savings. The new state policy, NEM 3.0, goes into effect at 5 p.m. Pacific on April 14th this year, which drops your solar savings potential by 60%. In order to qualify for the current higher savings potential, you'll want to get in touch with local installers today to lock in your home. To avoid price gouging, high sales pressure tactics, and to get quotes from trusted, verified installers, follow the link below to sign up for EnergySage's free, no-obligation service and get the ball rolling today. If you choose to use an EnergySage installer for your solar project, we will get a small referral fee, so you'll be helping the channel out too. And now, it's time for short shorts. Enphase, a firm known for its solar systems and grid-tied battery solutions, has announced a new bidirectional charging solution for EVs. The system is based on the company's existing Enphase IQ battery, microinverter, and energy management products. Vinfast, which has just officially launched its US subsidiary, has announced a delay to the first deliveries of its VF8 electric car in the US. The reason given is that it wants to load up its cars with the latest operating system before delivering them to paying customers. Enphase, a Massachusetts metal refiner, has confirmed that it will start producing mixed hydroxide precipitate for the first time in the US. It's an essential material found in modern EV battery packs and will help reduce the US dependence on non-domestic sources. Nissan has officially unveiled its Nissan Max-Out concept EV roadster for the first time outside of the virtual world at a special event at its headquarters in Japan. Nissan says it showcases its ambition to, quote, support sustainable and innovative mobility, end quote. A Tesla Model S has come out top in an annual real-world winter range test as conducted in Norway, covering 530 kilometres, that's 329 miles in below freezing temperatures. Its range was just 16.4% shy of its official rating. Bollinger Motors has officially filed papers to sue Scottish firm Munro for patent infringement. Munro, which has nothing to do with Munro & Associates, and one of its employees, a former Bollinger contractor, stand accused of stealing Bollinger's designs. Electrify America has officially announced it will be increasing the price of charging at its network of rapid charging stations across the US. As of March 6th, the cost will increase by 5 cents per kilowatt hour or up 4 cents per minute, depending on location. Global armoured vehicle courier firm Loomis has officially expanded its purchase agreement with California EV specialists Exos, signing a new purchase agreement that will see Exos supply 150 armoured electric vehicles for use by Loomis across the US. Last year, there were rumours suggesting Tesla would build a new gigafactory in Mexico, and this week, a government official confirmed Tesla will be establishing a production facility next to Mexico City. That said, it still doesn't appear to be a done official deal. Yet. Sticking with Tesla, the company has just officially opened up all Australian superchargers to non-Tesla EVs. Australian Teslas make use of the CCS charger inlet as found in Europe, meaning anyone with a CCS EV can plug in, so this is a big deal for any Australian EV owners. StoreDot has announced that it will partner with a London-based supply chain tracking firm called Circulor to account for and track all of the raw materials used in its battery cells. The company says it wants to track the origin and carbon footprint of all of its raw materials. Genesis has confirmed it will bring its Genesis X concept into production as a flagship model. Genesis made the announcement at its annual meeting with dealers, stating that the Genesis X convertible would become a flagship halo model for the brand. Electrify America has announced a new partnership with Travel Centers of America to deploy DC rapid charging stations at 200 rest stops across the US. The charging stations will wear the TA colours, making this the first jointly branded EA stations that we've actually seen. Audi was dropping big hints this week that it's about to bring an all-electric 4x4 to market, telling Autocar in the UK that it's eager to explore the concept of a luxury all-electric off-roader to compete against Mercedes-Benz and Land Rover in the electric vehicle market. Volkswagen has announced that it will be making a sizable investment in EV charging infrastructure this year, funding the installation of up to 25,000 EV stations across the world through partnership with its existing EV charging partners. During a conference call this week with investors, GM CEO Mary Barra confirmed that General Motors is openly exploring the possibility of building cells with pouch, prismatic and cylindrical form factors, something that she says Ultium battery designs have always been able to accommodate. Talking to investors in Ford's earnings call on Friday, Ford CEO Jim Farley said that Ford is deep into development of its next-generation electric pickup, a vehicle that will be built on a brand new platform and not shared with any internal combustion engine vehicles. Toyota has rolled out its in-house scientists to argue that in order to build a truly sustainable future, Toyota shouldn't commit to making just battery electric cars. Instead, he argues that the solution is to spread out resources building hybrids, EVs and other green drivetrains. Arrival has announced a change of CEO this week and confirmed it will be laying off one half of all of its staff. This is, I should note, after the company already announced a strategic realignment last year. The company's factory in North Carolina currently appears to be on hold. GM has confirmed a strategic investment into Lithium Americas totaling more than $650 million. The investment will secure lithium from the Thacker mine in Nevada, a mine established on land sacred to many native peoples. The City of London has introduced a £110 million Cash for Clunkers programme. It is aimed at vulnerable groups and small businesses and offers up to £2,000 sterling to scrap heavy polluting vehicles and switch to cleaner alternatives. Chinese company XPeng has been official permission given to it by Chinese authorities to fly its eVTOL X2 in the People's Republic of China. The details of the permit aren't exactly public, so I can't say much more about it. But hey, it is definitely not a weather balloon. BMW has recalled certain iX and i4 models to rectify what's being called a malfunctioning noisemaker. Noisemakers are now required on all EVs in most countries, but apparently in some situations, these cars will not make the noise you want them to, when you want them to make them. Nissan has told dealerships across the US and Canada that continued supply chain issues means that deliveries of the Nissan Ariya will continue to be slow this year. Last year, only 201 Ariyas were delivered, and numbers will remain low through 2023. Indian motorcycle specialist Ultraviolet has officially unveiled its F99 motorcycle at Auto Expo 2023. An out-and-out racer, it's a really good-looking bike that builds off the success of the F77, and I would love to see one in action. How about you? Suzuki, a firm not known for its electric vehicles, has surprised us all this week by promising that an all-electric version of its iconic Jimny off-roader is on the way. It's promised to go on sale in Europe by 2030, and I want one. I guess Johnny Smith probably wants one too. The US state of Missouri, which is already in my personal bad books for demonizing trans people, is now trying to block cities and counties from mandating EV charging stations. One Republican lawmaker suggested it was all to stop fistfights over EV-specific parking. Sticking with politics, the state of Kansas, which is next door to Missouri, is considering a new law to tax EV owners 3% of the energy they use to charge their EVs in public. It's strange that states that are anti-EV are also anti-LGBTQ. Just can't figure out why. Ford CEO Jim Farley has confirmed to investors that alongside the new next-generation pickup Ford is working on, the company wants to build more efficient electric vehicles that use smaller battery packs. The idea is to build fewer platforms and rely more on efficiency. The president of Mazda USA has told Green Car Reports this week that long-range electric vehicles aren't the future, doubling down on shorter-range EVs instead. Mazda currently makes the shortest-range EV on sale in North America, and sales are frankly abysmal. We've covered EV charging station security plenty of times on this channel before, but our friends over at the Kilowatts YouTube channel discovered a new worrying security flaw from Electrify America this week, namely the ability to use TeamViewer to connect to the PC inside of an EA charging station. Oh boy. And those are your short shorts. There will be more next week. Our final two stories are next, but first a reminder that everything we do here at the channel is supported by people like you. I'm not sure how much you're aware, but YouTube has really been punishing long-form creators in the last year, trying to put all of its metaphorical eggs in one basket, YouTube Shorts, in an attempt to beat TikTok. That has resulted in us seeing income from YouTube ad revenue dramatically fall. Last month, it was about 1/2 of what it usually is. We also recently had to sign a new partner agreement that will likely reduce our monthly income further, and I say we had to sign it because if we didn't, we would have lost the ability to earn anything on this platform. And I know that there are folks out there who think that we're begging when we ask for your support, but making content takes time and money. It is our only job. There are 2 full-time members of staff and 1 part-time member of staff, and then there's me. Without continued support, we won't be able to continue to make the content we do. So please, if you do want us to stick around and continue to make videos, please consider supporting us by making a YouTube membership donation or by joining us over on Patreon. And if you can't, just subscribe. We know that most of you aren't. Thanks. As electric vehicles have become more and more common on our roads, we've seen a dramatic acceleration of electric vehicle battery breakthroughs. Some new types of battery chemistry, like solid electrolyte lithium metal batteries, have impressive energy and power density and can recharge quickly too, but are often too fragile for use in EVs. Now researchers at Stanford University, working alongside the US Department of Energy's SLAC, National Accelerator Laboratory, have identified exactly what causes lithium metal solid-state batteries to fail: mechanical stress. In a new paper published in Nature Energy this week, the researchers explain that even modest bending, twisting or indentation of lithium metal batteries can cause microscopic fissures that lead to short circuits. They believe tempering the raw materials during manufacturing, like you might when you make things out of metal, could solve the issue. And finally, if you've watched this channel for any length of time, you'll know that I love the idea of travelling around the world, specifically in an EV, and I've seriously given it plenty of thought. But as I've also previously explained, there are some reasons why it wouldn't be safe for me to make such a trip. That doesn't, however, mean I can't live vicariously through others, and this week, the channel's good friends, Chris and Julie Ramsay, unveiled the all-electric modified Nissan Ariya Steed for their latest adventure, a pole-to-pole electric vehicle expedition. In the planning for more than a year now, they're going to take 10 months to travel from the magnetic North Pole to the South Pole in an EV, covering all kinds of amazing landscapes on the way. As a former sponsor of their first adventure to Mongolia, and someone who has regularly been beaten on the virtual racetrack by Chris, I cannot wait to see this adventure unfold. They start their journey in March, so keep your peepers peeled. And on that note, we are done for the day. Before I go, a huge thank you to the Electric Vehicle Association for sponsoring today's show. They have been advocating for electric vehicles since 1967 and firmly believe that our future depends on us making the switch to clean, green electric cars today. The EVA can help you find someone near to you that can help you make the switch to electric. It can help you become an EV educator, and it can point you in the direction of monthly meetups for like-minded EV fans. And if you do become a member, you'll gain access to a clean energy and EV loan program set up between the EVA and the Colorado Clean Energy Credit Union. You can find out more by heading to electricauto.org. And finally, thanks to EnergySage. Follow the link below to find out how easy it can be to get verified, trustworthy solar experts helping you make that step towards energy self-sufficiency, either through solar on the roof of your home or through a local community solar project. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell for this channel and our second channel, Transport Evolved Take 2. And in addition to becoming a Patreon supporter or a YouTube member, you can tip us through Ko-fi or check out our cool swag store. Or if you'd like, book us for a consulting session for your business, community group, or next EV purchase. As long as everything is okay, we'll be back next week with another Roundup show. But in the meantime, do remember we publish content every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday, plus our Sunday musings and garden updates over on Take 2. Oh, and I didn't want to have to say this, but if you are going to comment, please keep it nice. We've collectively spent about 3 hours this week cleaning out trash of the comments section. I don't think I need to tell you what will get you a ban, but if you are unsure, just go and check out our Mastodon account. Whatever you enjoy next, I hope your weekend is a great one, and as always, keep evolving!